Howdy folks, Jake here with Janet Davis Acoustic Music, and this week for our lick of the week I want to focus a little bit more on building complete solos due to some inquiries we got about a video that Robbie and I shot about a week ago where we played 9-pound hammer. And it's different every time, but I did review the video a little bit, and I think I put together the basic gist of what that first solo was. So we'll just try to get up close and work through it, and I'll kind of show you, the little parts we can add to kind of spice up a solo. So stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing we do when we're trying to play any solo is we have to establish what notes are essential for the melody. And in the case of 9-pound hammer, it'd be just like how the vocal sounds, something along those lines. So basically, whenever I'm coming up with an arrangement for something like this, and forgive me, we're not going to have time to break down every little lick in minute detail, but I will try to show you slowly working through this, and hopefully you can put together something of your own, even if it's not exactly what I'm doing, because to be honest with you, I don't do exactly what I do every time anyway. So to get into it, instead of just starting on 9-pound, whatever, just start with something like, you can start with a G run. I think that's how I did it in the video. So, and then right there, instead of just that adds a little something right away. But instead of just doing two half notes on the G there, I go ahead and slide into that, because that gives you a real powerful sound. All right, then we have the next part, which is. And on that part, on the C, we have a lot of downtime. So we kind of come up with filler for that. But how I would get from the first part to the second part, I would probably do a slide. So along those lines, let me put it in context, and if I can see, I can better show you how to do that. Then from there, we would just kind of do a hammer on. That's bringing us back into the G chord. Now, one thing that's interesting to note, and you can use this idea anywhere, is when we're coming from the G to the C, where a lot of bluegrass improvisers struggle is that they think, especially if they're coming from like a rhythm playing background, they think that they have to indicate that they're in a C chord on the very beginning of the C chord. For example, the rhythm's going like this. So a lot of bluegrass, especially when you're just getting started, you'll have the notion to want to imply that C chord right away. Well, kind of the fun thing to do is and it gives kind of a dizzying and unexpected feel, which is kind of the whole point of great guitarists like Tony Rice, Clarence White, and people like that, is you don't imply the C right away. You can still just run around in the notes of the G scale and get into the C well after the C's already been established in the song, and that's what happens here. I don't actually imply the C till right almost at the end of the C chord. So anyway, after I come out of that section, we're into the G for a brief second, then goes to the D. So we got. And that turnaround, it's one of those, don't even ask me how I do it, because it's different every time and I have no idea. But in a nutshell, we're going so let me put it in context, that whole first part. So you see what we did there. I'm just kind of noodling around some dissonant notes, and I'm filling up a couple measures worth of space with it. Right, and that ends the first phrase. You know, we've gone from this and we have something like. So where things get kind of interesting is on the next part. We start off right away with a Tony Rice kind of a pedal steel effect, which I will explain that lick briefly. I'm holding both the G and the D note down with my ring finger, and then I'm going to the B flat with my pointer finger, and I'm sliding back to an A note. Then I'm going open G, E note, open G again. I'm sorry. And so what I'll kind of do at that point is just work the notes up around until I get to the next signature lick, which I'll show you here in a second. And so at this point we're kind of diverging a little more from the melody. And again, didn't really emphasize that we were on C till the very end of the C chord. Let me see if I can run through that. Okay, so the second signature kind of thing I'm doing, here's the first lick again. Just kind of running notes around. Those are just kind of filler notes. They can be different every time depending on, you know, how you're struggling with your right hand and the speed you're playing it at, and you know, all those factors. But the next cool lick that comes in is kind of a Tony-esque lick, and I actually learned this one from Robbie Boone not too long ago. So kudos to Robbie here. It starts on the A string on an open note, or at least the way I did it in this particular song. We slide from a C to a D, then we bar straight up the F and the B flat note. Upon hitting that B flat, we hammer to a B. So that's O, 3, slide to 5, next string 3, next string 3, hammer 4. Right? So. And that's just an arpeggio down a C chord. Then to end it, to do something entirely different, we just do kind of a Clarence Whitish, Tony Rice thing, kind of a standard ending. Or at least a version thereof. Now keep in mind, there's a million different ways you can play these, as long as you're taking up the same amount of space with each lick. The actual notes can vary. So let me try to do that whole second part in context slowly. Bear with me here. So that, in a nutshell, is basically what's going on. And like I said, I can't really show you exactly note for note the whole thing because I don't know it that way. And I would advise you, when you're learning things like this, you know, don't worry, don't get so caught up on a by the book note for note approach. Just make fit what idea you have in your head and go with it. So I'll go ahead and run through the whole thing, or at least I'll try to slowly. It's hard to do slow. My thoughts get in the way of my hands when I'm doing that, but we'll give it a shot. Okay, folks. Well, hopefully you can at least get an idea. Like I said, this wasn't a specific video about specific licks. It was more just the mindset of trying to come up with a solo that's different from just straight melody. So that being said, if there was anything in there that gave you too much trouble and you wanted to learn any of those specific licks, go ahead and leave it in the comment section, and I'd be happy to, the next time I get around to doing some of these lick of the week videos, I'll show you specifically little parts of that. Like I said, just put in the comments like what was the lick at 2 minutes 42 seconds or something like that. So I can know what you're talking about, and we'll do our very best to get around to those at some point. But otherwise, I do want to say this guitar that I'm playing today is just a Martin HD28 standard. And as far as HD28 standards go, they're all good, but this one's probably the very best new in the box one I have ever played. Just in case you're wondering, and it is for sale. We just got it in last week. So I guess that'll be all for now. Until next time, may your calluses never flake.